Hey everyone, welcome to Life After Work. Solomon here. We're going to get back on the New Jersey this morning, and I want to explain to you a couple of the things I'm doing and how I'm doing. Okay, let's talk first about this 16-inch mount right here. This is the one that goes down and hits the main deck. Now my first inclination was to get a drill bit this size, drill a hole through the main deck, run this tubing all the way through it down to the bottom of the ship and glue it in down there. Well, the more I thought about that, the more I thought there was probably a little bit better way to do that to ensure that I have a good vertical pull on the gun when it goes down in there. So I cut a short piece that just goes down to the main deck. Now I can take my smaller rod and I can put it in that down again to the main deck. I can put that down in there. Now I've got this small piece that I can use to determine vertical, and I can glue in the larger piece directly to the main deck with this piece vertical. Once the bottom part of that is glued to the main deck, I can glue in this upper part and pull this piece out. Once I've done that, then I can get the drill bit this size. Then I can get the drill bit this size. Drill down through here, through the main deck, and all of this will then be aligned perfectly, and I know it will be vertical. That way I can then go in and just apply the gun to it and I'm done. Now you'll notice right now that this is sitting just a little bit proud of the deck. Well, I'll cut it a little shorter, not all the way down, because then I'll just take my sanding paper or my file and file it down flush so I get a good fit. But I'm not 100% sure. And let me put this gun on here. I'm not 100% sure that's not a little too low. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Well, I can try it here. But at least if this stands a little proud, I can kind of file it down to where it looks right to my eye. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and get that piece glued in, and then I'll get right back with you. Okay, the next part of the process is dealing with these that go all the way down to the bottom of the ship. Now what I had planned on doing was cutting a small piece of the larger, just enough to go through the hole with about an inch, and then put some bracing, put it on the bottom of the deck, push it up through the hole and glue the whole thing. Well, I got to thinking that all I really need to do is put this in all the way down to the deck, glue it to the bottom of the ship. Now that's going to take an extra inch of the styrene. Hey, that's a fraction of a penny's worth. I'm not going to worry about that. And it'll be so much easier then once I get that glued in. I can do a good job of gluing the top, and I'll mark this so that I can cut this off just like I cut the other off. And again, you probably didn't see this. Not that it matters, you've all cut styrene before. But let's set this up, give myself a little extra, and then I'll just make this cut. There we have it. And I'll take just a little bit of sanding just to take any nubs and knurls off. This will be at the top. The bottom is fairly clean. That's where I'm going to glue it to the ship anyway. That will go down in here like that. And again, to get it level or vertical, I'll put that in and I'll glue it just like that. That should take just a minute. And by the way, since I'm doing it this way, I'm breaking one of my own rules, and I don't feel like I'm breaking rules. I'm using the tools that best serve the job. So I'm using some of this gap filling medium grade CA glue. The cyanoacrylate is not meant to hold this, to weld this to the bottom of the ship, just to hold it in place. Once I get it glued at the top, and I'm using plenty of this gap filler just in case the bottom isn't perfectly level, and I'll put that down in there. Make sure everything is vertical fore and aft. Uh-oh, already got the first problem. But that's not really a problem because I can go ahead and that's why I shouldn't have cut it off so short. Should have left it a little bit longer. But let me make an adjustment to the. Took this skewer, and the skewer fits the inside diameter of that piece as well. So I can kind of use it to hold this in place, and it won't stick because it's not styrene. So I'll be able to make sure everything stays nice and square and plumb and all that other good stuff. So there, I'll move on with gluing that in, then we'll go to the one just aft of the house. Okay, I've got all of the, I don't know what I'll call them, bushings or whatever, on all three parts of the ship in place. The glue is drying. I'm going to leave it right there. Okay, I've got all of these, let's call them bushings for right now, on this mount, and the mount aft cut in place, and the glue is drying. I don't want to mess with it and possibly move it around and get it out of vertical, so I'm going to leave those to dry for a while. Alright, I've glued in the bushings, if you want to call it that. I've glued in the pieces that are added onto the bottom of the guns. I haven't trimmed down those bushings yet, but as you can see, they work well. The guns come out, the guns go in. They'll be easy to work on and finish now. I have not drilled this through yet. I'm going to do that right now. That one has to be filed down. But I haven't actually glued this in yet. It's glued to the deck underneath, but it's not glued to the main deck, or to the hull. It's not glued to the main deck. What I'm looking at right now is what I want to do next. Truth is, I'm going to finish these 16-inch guns at least up to the point of putting the barrels in, the brass barrels, because frankly I'm not 100% sure about that yet. I know I'm going to make a jig, but once I get these all filed down flush, I can finish up everything else on these guns, get them ready to paint. I'm going to try to put the PE ladders on them. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm going to do my best. I've been exercising my hands with some things that the physical therapist gave me, and if all goes well, I'll have these guns done fairly quickly. I can then prime them. Just a matter of me staying with it. The reason I was wondering what I wanted to do next, because I'm about ready to glue in this main deck. I think I'm ready to do that. I'm kind of, I'm just ready to do it. I want to get the main deck glued in, and start working my way around with all the deck gear and really get the deck in good shape, get these guns in good shape, and basically everything you see here I want to get finished. So what I think I'll do next, I'm going to get my putty. I'll use this, what is that, the Squadron white putty. And I'll take a toothpick and I'm going to start filling in these seams, because there are some very small seams around here. I'm going to, where these face pieces of fascias were put on, I'm going to fill that in, and I'll use a cotton swab to kind of smooth them off. But I want this to begin to look like one piece that's been welded together and is watertight. Once I get the main deck glued to the hull, I will go around the seam on the main deck and do the same thing. I don't like seeing ship models where these seams are visible, because that simply means a place where the ship's going to leak. But there's a lot of these on here, and I'll do some close-ups of it when I begin to fill them in. So this is going to move the ship forward quite a bit, at least in my mind. Then I'll finish up the hull. I've got some pieces to put down here on the side of the hull. I've got my pieces that I'm going to put up on the bow that will be where the hawse pipes connect to finish that off. And I've got a little bit to do on the stern, but I'm basically about ready to get it done from here down. That will certainly go a long way to make me happy. Also, there's a lot of PE that goes on here. I'm not sure how much of that I will do. I've got 1 to 350 scale U.S. Navy doors and hatches PE, and I've got a lot of doors and hatches around here. I'm considering using this PE on them. I'm definitely going to have to think about that, because once I get started, I want to be able to continue on with it. These, by the way, come from White Ensign Models. Any of you guys building ships and you want some PE, White Ensign is a good place to get them. They do really good. Matter of fact, this one has closed doors, open doors, closed hatches, open hatches. So you can do quite a bit with this. So anyway, I'm looking at that now and seeing if I can actually do that. Like I said, I'm working my hands. I'm exercising them every day. I've got 2 different stiffnesses of devices to exercise with. So I'm feeling pretty good about this so far. I think we'll be drawing to a close on this part of it before too awfully long, if I can stay with it. So there we go. That's what I'm doing right now.